Welcome to my homestead. My name is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. Before I get on to today's video topic, I wanted to give a little bit of a recap of myself. I am here in Missouri. I have lived most of my life here, mostly in the country. Ever since I grew up around horses and cattle and going to my grandparents' farm when I was a kid, I had a passion to be a farmer. But life took turns, and so you have to revert to getting a job, a career, stuff like that. Life also takes turns with kids, family. So I'm also carnivore. I have been on the carnivore diet for over a year now, and now it's time for me to start my homestead. But just like a lot of us out there with things of rising costs, homesteading can be a little expensive, but you can manage to be affordable. I am very fortunate. I have the land, I have some equipment, I have a tractor, I have a pickup truck, and I have resources like some fencing supplies and steel posts. Well, most of this I'm going to have to do on a budget and do over time. My goal is to have animals within the 3 to 5 year range to be running on this property, primarily haired sheep and some meat goats. So today's subject I'm talking about is fencing. And the reason why I'm talking about fencing is very important on the homestead, because you got to have fencing to keep your animals in, especially particularly animals like cattle, horses, goats, sheep. And if you have a stock dog, like a Great Pyrenees, especially with sheep, you got to make sure that dog stays inside. So fencing is very important. Well, here on this homestead, a lot of this fencing had been replaced over time, but the fencing is aged. A lot of the wire that my father put in over 40 years ago is at the end of its life. And yes, could I reuse the wire? But this wire here is a high tensile gaucho wire, which once it's stretched, it is very brittle and it can snap easy. If it was barbed wire, sometimes you can reuse the barbed wire over age. But the good thing about the fence, like I'm going to step to the side. If you look here, I have a fence that needs to be replaced. The good news is I have steel post on this. I'm going to repurpose the steel post because there's no need to throw them away. They're really good and we can repurpose it. Even some that are bent, if they're really bent, may not, but I have some bent ones, and I'll show you in this video how I can straighten some up and how you can straighten them up with just a big steel pipe, especially if you have a front end loader. I don't have one. I have a flatbed that has steel pipe, but I'm going to try to find one that I can be able to bend back easy so you can see. But I also will need post. Like if you look, this gate, I could probably reuse this gate, straighten it up. It's in good shape. But like, I'm going to give you an example. This post right here, this one's got to be replaced. It's been put in over 40 years ago when my father had the barn built, when he had the barn lot put in for the horses. It is rotted. The only reason why it's still solid because it's just barely holding on, but there's also a steel post right beside it to hold it in place, plus this gate. I am going to try to repurpose the hinges if I can on this, because those can be expensive as well. But I am going to pretty much like replace, but then I'm going to show you some things on this fence as I replace. I'll turn this around. We're going to turn it around and I will show you. If you see this right here, this pipe, this is going to be reused. It'll be repurposed for bracing. And it is very, very good to keep those. If you have any of that, it's a great brace post. So I have several of that around, and I am going to keep this. Now, on these posts, these posts are treated. They're like the old CCA posts, and this one is really strong. I'm going to actually reuse this post, and I'm going to check this post, which it is strong. So these posts are good, so they will be reused. All I'm going to do is get rid of this board here because it's probably pretty rotten, and then it needs a new bracing wire put in, so we'll do that. And my purpose is I'm going to be putting what they call goat sheep woven wire, because you want the smaller squares. I could get the regular woven wire, but I want to make sure that when I'm running sheep and goats, you want to make sure they don't get their heads stuck. And that's the biggest thing, the issues that you have with regular woven wire, is because when you have little squares, it can, you don't know, you may have a property down the way and you don't see it, and you have a goat with their head stuck. You don't know, and you end up losing an animal. And that's why I want to use goat and sheep wire. So that is my primary use for this homestead. So this is where I have to budget the fence in. So when I put this fence back in, which it goes all the way through, I will have to budget. I may have to do it a little at a time, but I will get it done. Now, where I'm at on this fence, my father put some cattle panels here because originally he had a woven wire fence as a barn lot fence for when he had the horses. But over time, when the horses bared this ground in this lot, it became bare. So all the dirt eroded up at the top, and it came all down. And so that kind of almost buried the fence. So he took this fence out and he put this cattle panels in. Well, the good thing about these panels, even though I won't be using it in this location anymore, I can actually repurpose this. And these are good to hold on to because you can use these for many things, especially, barn lot fences, like a corral, gardening, if you have beds, raised beds, or gardening for like climbing vegetables, climbing plants. These are great for that. Also, you can use these to make hoop houses, like greenhouses, for on a budget, or you can make like chicken houses or duck houses, stuff like that, very inexpensive. And these are great to hold on. Never let these go, and I won't let these go. I will repurpose these for other uses. All right, I am down a little bit further on this same fence where the barbed wire starts. And good thing about this, even though this fence was put in 40 years ago, this fence, there's a lot of reuse I can on this fence. These steel posts could be reused. They're in great shape. No matter what, never throw any of your steel posts away. Even if they look all rusty and no paint, you can repurpose them. You can even paint them if you want. These I won't paint because they'll just fade away, but they're still got good paint on it. As far as the wire, some of this wire is at the end of its age. This high tensile gaucho wire, I don't think it's hard to I don't think it'd be easy to restretch because it's high tensile, it's more brittle than barbed wire. If this was barbed wire, I would definitely be taking one strand and reusing it on the fence, but I don't want to take a chance on that. But never throw it away. You can repurpose this. If you are going to need it, you can try to repurpose it. It could stretch out a little bit, but you want to be careful because it will break. Older it is, the more brittle it's going to be. But I will show you a way that you can reuse this wire without throwing it away. Now I'm back up at the trailer that has junk on it. This is one of the equipment trailer that I do miss. I am going to get this trailer going because it needs new tires. That's about all it needs to do and get this junk off of here. But the main purpose why I'm up here is because I have some bent steel posts that I am going to reuse. Now, some of them I can't though use this trailer because it's actually sitting too low for the pipe. So I'm going to plan on getting a big steel pipe. I'm going to dig a hole. I'm going to put concrete where I put it in the ground so I can use that to straighten up steel posts, because steel posts are not cheap these days. Used to be, a long time ago, you used to be able to get them for $5 a bundle or $10 a bundle, but now it's like $5 or $6 a post. Depends on the height post that you need, depends on the quality, depends on the brand. And so it's very valuable for me to keep all my posts and try to reuse ones that I can, especially if they're bent. Now, if they're bent beyond repair, then I will throw them away. But other than that, if they're just bent, like I'll show you one. This one right here, it's bent, but it can be straightened. But unfortunately, I wish I can straighten it on the trailer in this way. The trailer's in this position because it's hard to do that with this post. But one good thing is I know I'll find a post in here that I'll show you how I'll straighten it up. But they are very easy to straighten. And if you're on a homestead and you start and you have to take a fence down, or there was fence posts, steel posts like this, don't throw them away. Check them, examine them. If they're just bent just a little bit or bent just like this, don't throw them away. You can reuse them. You can straighten them out and reuse them. There's no sense throwing them out. Just have to get you a heavy steel pipe, get you some Quikrete, dig in the ground. Unless you found a tractor with a good front end loader or have a tractor with a front end loader, you can actually use the front end loader pipe, that framing, to straighten it up. I have neighbors that did that. That's how I found out about don't throw the bent post away. You can reuse them and repurpose because of the cost. That's the purpose of why I'm saving them, because I want to make sure that I'm doing this on a budget, and I need new wire. I have bob wire, new bob wire. I have bracing wire. I need the woven wire, but I can't throw the post away because I need to repurpose it. So let's see if I can find one. Here's one. Here's one that I can try to see if I can bend. All I got to do is just put it into that, and then voila. It may not be perfect. It may be a little bit crooked, but it is definitely reusable. You know, I went from being really bent to now it's usable. You can drive that into the ground and you have a repurposed steel post. So even though it's not perfect, reuse it. It's straight enough. Once you get in the ground, you won't even notice it where it's bent. And sometimes once you get in the ground, you can probably straighten it a little bit more. All right, I am actually on the other side of the property, and I'm actually at a location where I have to take a fence out. Why you're asking me why I'm gonna have to take this fence out is because if you look behind me, it is growing up with cedars, brush, and I want to get that all cleaned up. I don't want it to grow up, because the problem is if you let cedar trees grow and get out of hand, they will produce more trees and more trees and more trees, because if you have them, they go wild. And what I want to do is I want to clear this up because I want to utilize this part of it. Even though there's a pond on the other side and there's some pine trees, the pine trees are going to stay. I'm going to trim them up, but I want to take this fence out because I'm going to have to get the tractor in there, and the only way to get in there is on foot, because the only other way to get in there is go across the pond dam. But unfortunately, the pond dam is going to have to be repaired because of the muskrats in here that damaged it and burrowed their holes into it, and it collapsed. And if we don't fix it, it'll eventually collapse the whole dam out and we'll lose the pond. And I don't want to lose this pond because it's great, you know, for here on the homestead. It's a great way to make a meal. You can catch your meal and catch you some fish and clean it and cook them. And I don't want to lose the fish in here. So this fence is going to be taken out. The wire, the reason why I'm over here is because I'm going to show you where I'm going to take some wire off of here, and we're going to go to a fence that needs to be repaired and show you why it's valuable to save some of your wire or most of your wire for fence repair. And the post over here will be reused. The corner posts are rotten. They're done. They're gone. So they will be destroyed, you know, put in a hauler to help for washouts and stuff. So let's take a section of this fence out, and we will I'm going to take you over to a fence that does need fence repair. 2 wires is broken, and I want to repair that fence because it is a property line fence, and I want to get it repaired. Not only it helps stabilizes the fence, but also it is in my yard area, and I want to make sure that fence is not looking nice, but also is doing its purpose. Even though the next door neighbor is just woods, there's no livestock, but I want to make sure the fence is intact. So I want to show you how to repair a fence on a budget when you can repurpose wire. All right, let's go ahead and take this fence out. Some of the tools that you're going to need: good set of fencing pliers. This is mine. I have several of these, but this is the one I normally use. And when you're handling bob wire, you want to make sure you have a pair of gloves, because you will cut your hands. Make sure they're leather, not fabric, because it won't do no good. So you want good leather gloves to be able to handle this wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these clips off. We're going to take some clips off here. And most of the time your clips are not going to be good on steel posts, but examine them, because they could possibly still be good. If they're not all rusty and nasty and almost broke, reuse it. Like this one I took off, that is reusable. Don't throw it away, repurpose it. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try to go through here and I'm going to repurpose as much as I can of this fence. You know, the wire for fence repair, the post for another location of a fence, a new fence, and these clips can be reused. So yeah, don't throw them away. So let's get some wire off of here, and then I'll go show you about how to repair a fence on a budget, or what resources do you have without having to go buy wire, because buying a roll of wire is expensive, especially if you have decent fence. And depends on what livestock you have, and you have decent fence, go ahead and repair what you have. But if you're like me, you're doing sheep and goats, you're going to have to put the woven wire in. They do make electric netting, wire netting, look like the goat wire, sheep wire netting for electrical. That's okay for in between, like if you want to separate lots, like if you do rotate daily, like you move them from one lot to another lot to another lot, that's great to have. But on your exterior, you want a good solid fence. So let's go get this wire down so I can take. All right, I got the wire, got it rolled up. Let me take you over to the fence that needs the fence repair. All right, I am over here where the fence needs to be repaired. I'm gonna put my gloves on for safety, and I'm gonna show you here why this fence is, I don't know why this fence is broken. I imagine maybe deer come running through here and it snapped it, or a tree limb or something hit it. But I have two, if you see here, I have two strands of this barbed wire that is broken, and I want to fix this so we can have the fence back. This fence through here will be here longer because this is pretty much a yard, and I'm not going to worry about taking it out and putting a new fence in. Now in the future, later on, in the future, if I sell the home and turn this my side of the land back into the property and connect it back into one, it might be a different story. But right now, I'm not going to worry about it. It does its purpose for what it needs to be, a border fence. So let me show you how I fix a fence. What I do is I take the wire, and there's many different ways that you can fix a fence, but the simplest one, and I learned this from my father when he fixed fences, I just make a loop, tie it around, so then I can take the repair or section of the wire that I took off that fence over yonder. I will show you that I'll use that to connect it, and then I'll use the fencing pliers to tighten this fence up. So let me get this done, and then I'll show you. Also, be careful. This gaucho wire can grab you if you're not careful, because it will roll back. It can be dangerous. More dangerous than barbed wire. Barbed wire is dangerous, but this is more dangerous because it is high tensile. Let's see. I dropped a clip that I had in my pocket. I'll look for that here in a minute or two. Let's go ahead and get this. Let's go ahead and get this wire fixed. This is why it's good to save your old wire for stuff like this. We're going to start with the bottom wire first. I'm going to do the same thing just like I did with the loop, with the repair wire. Now, I don't know how much wire that I will need off of this, because this pretty good length of wire, you know, on each side of this wire that broke had good wire already linked. So I just always want to start with a good length, because you never know how much you went. But what you want to do is pull it, and you want to pull it tight. And then we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to loop that wire around and get it nice and twisted. And voila. And take your fencing pliers, and then we're going to cut this access off. I'm just going to set that over the side. Get this wrapped so it stays secured. And now, if you notice, it's a little bit loose, or it's loose. I will show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try to smash this stuff in. And now, this is where the magic begins to tighten it up. And you don't want to keep on twisting, especially with this high tensile bob wire, because it will break on you. So it needs to be a little bit taut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. And voila. We're going to hold that. And there we go. That fence is repaired. Let's go ahead. Let's get the other one done. I'm going to see if I can use what's left of this wire. Hot dog. Barely, but it worked. It worked. That was pretty taut. I am not going to worry about tightening that wire up because it's pretty taut. And if I do try to tighten it, I know it's going to snap. So it looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Great. This is a good source of reusing and repurposing your old wire. So don't throw your wire away. Don't throw, if you have steel posts and your clips are good, even if it looks a little rusty color, if they're solid, don't throw them away. You can reuse them. I mean, when I took that wire off that fence, all them clips were great. And so I am going to straighten them, repurpose them, and reuse them. That's going to save me a ton of money in the long run, not having to buy bags of clips that cost a lot more now today than they did a few years ago. So you're going to ask me, what am I going to do with the rest of that wire? Are we going to put it away, or, you know, in the shed or something? You can do that, but if you have property, you know, with acreage, and you have to travel to, to fix a fence, say on the backside of your property, or if you have a line fence or something, I'll show you what to do with this extra wire that's rolled up. There you go. Put it on your fence, so that way you have wire on your fence row. And so if you have a fence repair down the way, you can take whatever your side-by-side, tractor, you're on foot, whatever it is you got to do to fix your fence. You have your wire, you go down, you fix your fence. You can put that wire right there. So that way the next time you can have it for your next time to fix a fence. So that way you don't have to scrounge around, where did I put the wire at, or have a bunch of wire. You just take small wires, like rolls of wire like that, and you just save it. So that it comes down to the end of this video. If you like this content, you love homesteading, you're interested in homesteading, or you are homesteading and you like this video and you learned from it and you enjoyed it, do one thing for me: hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. More comments, the more likes, YouTube will get this out to other people so they can see it. So one thing I will say at the end of this video is, let's be positive, let's encourage one another, let's support each other, and most of all, let's be 1% better each day into the world. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.